Welcome to It Gets Sticky TV, and today we have CEO Bezzle, who was brutally gunned down in Washington, D.C. after a dice game. Here's the story.
Two local men are under arrest in connection to the murder of an up-and-coming rapper from Memphis. Albert Smith, who performed as CEOBEZZAL, was shot to death in southeast D.C. in 2020. News 4's Jackie Benson tells us that one of the men under arrest worked at a D.C. high school.
It's not clear whether the two suspects knew that the 21-year-old they're accused of shooting after a craps game was an up-and-coming Memphis rapper named CEOBEZZAL, whose video, Rockstar, had over 100,000 views on YouTube. His murder made headlines in online music forums. One producer offered a $100,000 bounty to apprehend the killers. It happened June 14, 2020, just after 7 a.m. in the 1300 block of Congress Street, Southeast. The rapper, real name Albert Smith, was fatally wounded. A second man was seriously injured. A third was treated for a minor injury. The police report indicates the motive for the shooting was $10,000 in cash.
Prior to the actual homicide, we believe there was some kind of altercation that happened between our victims and our suspects.
News 4 has learned that one of the men charged in the murder, 34-year-old Marcel Gavin of Northeast D.C., works as a behavior technician at Dunbar High School. It's not clear why CEOBEZZAL was in D.C. His Instagram account indicates he'd been in Atlanta 2 days earlier. The police report shows the two men injured in the shooting are, like the rapper, from Tennessee.
We believe that during this altercation, the intended targets of our suspects were our victims.
Police say the investigation continues and there is the possibility of additional arrests. At D.C. Police Headquarters, Jackie Benson, News 4.
There is a $25,000 reward for information leading to arrests and convictions in this murder case.
Well, according to court documents, CEOBEZZAL and his crew flew into D.C. to do a video shoot. They had met up with a guy by the name of Loke that they had met a while back at the MGM casino. Loke was a local rapper and he grew up in the area of Southeast Washington, D.C. His neighborhood that he supposedly runs is Congress Heights on 13th Street. He met CEOBEZZAL and his crew and brought them back to Congress Heights area where they proceeded to hang out at an apartment. And also, just to put some things in perspective, Loke was later on brutally gunned down less than a year later after CEOBEZZAL's murder. There's no information about that case, and you don't know if that was related to the CEOBEZZAL murder at all. So once at the apartment, it read that these guys had a dice game, and the dice game was about a $50,000 to $100,000 dice game. These guys started at about 11 o'clock and didn't finish till about 7 a.m. in the morning. That's when they left the apartment and started walking towards their SUV. Here's the paperwork. As these guys were proceeding to walk up the street, the Memphis group, which is CEOBEZZAL, was a little bit ahead. One of their guys was back with the DC group. As these guys proceeded to walk, one of the DC guys started pistol whipping one of CEOBEZZAL's friends. Once that occurred, CEOBEZZAL and his brother took off running, as you can see in the photo. Once they started running, a guy from the back came up behind them and gave chase. And as you can see in the next photo, these guys weren't playing around. They also, during the chase, they had two more cars pull up and block them off. It was a white SUV and it was an Audi. And you can see that also right here depicted in the photo. Now this is where the story ends. After this, the SUV cuts them off, and this is when another guy got out the SUV and started shooting. Then shot CEOBEZZAL in the chest. The brother, he kept running down the street where he flagged down an officer and reported where he explained that him and his brother had flew into Washington, D.C. came in for a video shoot, and what ended up happening, his brother getting murdered. Now the story gets more interesting because now you have 4 or 5 different people on trial right now for the murder of CEO Bezzle. All have pleaded not guilty in the murder of CEO Bezzle. And now at the end, I'm going to leave all the reports from CEO Bezzle's brother, everything that they reported. At the end, you can read up on different topics, and I'll let you go over all the paperwork because it's a lot. So I'll leave it up. You'll give you guys time to read it. Like and subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to run it up. I got about 40 more videos to come. I'm working on a lot, trying to study these cases and see what's going on. So I appreciate all you guys for liking, supporting It Gets Sticky TV, because you know it gets sticky.
Going.